Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something huge, something every parent and teacher thinks about. How do we actually build character in kids? Not just teaching them math or history, but helping them become good people? Well, we're going to dig into a really powerful blueprint for doing exactly that. And it all kicks off with one big question. Really think about it for a second. How do you teach something like honesty or respect? It's not like a math problem with a clear answer. These are, well, they're big, kind of fuzzy ideas. So where on earth do you even start? The good news is there's actually a super practical, direct method that tackles this head-on. And here it is. It's called the Values Inculcation Approach. Now, the most important word in that whole phrase is direct. This isn't about crossing your fingers and hoping kids just, absorb good values from the air. Nope. This is about being intentional. It's a real process of introducing, showing, and then reinforcing these values over and over until they just click and become second nature. Okay, so how does this actually work? What do you do? Well, the whole approach is built on this really simple but super effective 5-step blueprint. Seriously, you can think of it like a recipe or a guide for building a solid foundation of character. So here they are, all 5 steps at a glance. First, you introduce the value. Then you explain why it matters. You model it yourself, you give them a chance to practice it, and finally, you reinforce it and help them internalize it. See how each one just flows into the next? It's a whole cycle that turns a fuzzy idea into something real. All right, let's dive in and break these down. Okay, step 1. You've got to be crystal clear. You just come right out and say it. Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about respect. And then you define it. But not in some complicated dictionary way. You use simple language a kid can actually get. No guesswork, just straight to the point. And look at how great this example is. It's brilliant because it does 2 things at once. First, it gives a super simple definition, the classic golden rule. But then, right away, it connects it to a real-life action. Listening when a classmate is talking. Boom. Suddenly, respect isn't just some abstract word anymore. It's something you can actually do right now. So once they know what a value is, you have to get to the why. Why should they care? This step is all about making that connection, tying the value directly to their world, to how they feel and what they've been through. And here's a really clever way to do it. Instead of just lecturing them on why respect is important, you flip it and ask them a question, something like, how does it feel when someone respects you? See what that does? It makes them stop and think. It makes them connect it to their own emotions, which makes the whole idea personal and way, way more likely to stick. All right, step 3, and this one's huge because, let's be real, words can only go so far. This is where actions speak louder than words isn't just a cliche, it's the whole game. Kids are always watching, and as adults, we're the main characters in their movie. And modeling doesn't mean you have to put on some big performance. It's actually all about the small stuff, the little everyday things, saying hello politely, actually listening when someone talks, using thank you. These tiny, consistent actions, they teach so much more than a big formal lesson ever could. Okay, think about it like this. You can't learn to play the piano just by reading a book about it, right? You have to actually practice. Well, values are the exact same way. They're skills. And to turn a skill into a habit, you need practice. So this step is all about creating chances for kids to actually try out these values in a safe space. And you can do this with some really simple but powerful activities, like a respect circle where everyone has to give someone else a compliment. That's literally practicing kindness and respect. Or group projects that force you to cooperate. These aren't just time fillers. They're like training grounds for building good character. And now for the final step, the one that makes it all sink in and actually stick, reinforcement. This is all about catching them in the act of doing the right thing and giving them a nod for it. This is the magic step that helps a kid go from doing something because you told them to doing it because, well, that's just who they are now. So how do you do it? It's all about positive feedback. But not just a generic good job. You've got to be specific. Saying something like, I loved how you showed respect by really listening to Sarah, that's powerful. And things like posters or quick chats at the end of the day to reflect, it all helps lock in the lesson. Okay, so we've got our 5-step blueprint. It's solid. But how do we keep it from feeling like just another checklist of things to do? How do we make it, come alive? Let's check out a few creative ways to do just that. The idea here is to weave these values into everything you do. Stories are amazing for this. They make the ideas stick. Songs and chants make it fun. A little journal gives them a quiet place to think about it all. All these little tools just help support those 5 steps and keep things from getting boring. All right, let's make this super practical. Let's take the whole 5-step blueprint and apply it to one single value, a big one. Let's do honesty. And check this out. You can see exactly how it works. To introduce it, maybe you tell a story about someone who returned a lost wallet. To explain it, you ask, how would you feel if someone lied to you? To model it, you share a real story about a time you had to tell the truth, even when it was hard. You let them practice in a role play, and then you reinforce it by praising a student who owns up to a mistake. See, it's a complete logical cycle. Now, this is so important to remember. A blueprint is just a piece of paper. This whole system isn't some robot algorithm you can just run. It absolutely needs a person, a teacher, a parent, to be the guide, the role model, and really the heart of the whole thing. It really boils down to the adult taking on 4 key jobs. You have to be a consistent model. You have to walk the walk. You have to be a positive reinforcer, always on the lookout for kids doing the right thing. You're also the guide, the one who corrects mistakes but does it respectfully. And finally, you're the bridge, constantly connecting these big ideas to what's actually happening in their lives. And all of this brings us to what might be the single most important point of this entire explainer. The whole goal of this blueprint. It isn't just to check off a box that says taught values today. No, it's about something much, much bigger. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It is a way of life. The most powerful tool you have isn't one specific lesson or a cool poster. It's just consistency. It's when these values stop being a topic and start being the culture, the way everyone operates in that classroom or in that home. That's the moment you stop just teaching character and start truly building it, one interaction at a time. So the real question is, what's the first value you're going to build?